These are all of the deleted scenes from Coraline. The first scene starts with the house, and we see the family having dinner, and the dad singing, "Ooh, my twitchy witchy girl, I think you are so nice." And if this scene looks familiar, it's because it's the exact same scene from the movie, where Coraline and her family are having dinner, but it's a little different. For starters, the song is pretty much the same, but in the original movie, it's not as long as the deleted scene one. In the deleted scene, he sings in the beginning and the end of the clip. Also, the end singing part of the scene was used in the original movie. Another difference is the mom isn't on her computer in the actual scene, and is actually being a part of the dinner. Moving on to the dialogue. In the deleted scene, the mom scolds the dad for not having a laptop because of the power outage earlier, and then Coraline makes fun of the food, and that's pretty much it. In the original though, there is a lot more dialogue. So after her dad's awful song, Coraline asks her mom why she doesn't cook, and she comes off kinda rude and explains that her dad cooks, she cleans, and Coraline stays out of the way. But then she says,
"I swear I'll go food shopping soon, after we finish the catalog."
and this scene makes her look like she has a heart and is just stressed out. Then the same as the deleted scene, Coraline makes fun of the food, and then goes to bed instead of eating the slime. Now I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like how in the deleted scene, the mom was on the computer. The whole premise of the movie was her original reality sucking, and seeing her mom completely ignore her and just be on a laptop works so well to really sell that the other mother is just so much better. I do think the deleted scene could have used more dialogue, but it did cut off before finishing, so I'm not sure. And also this scene could have just been another part of the diner scene to make it even longer. And if it was that, I'm glad they changed it because that had been so long for no reason. But honestly, like I said, I like how the mom was working, and this scene makes her parents suck a lot more. And I know that sounds mean, but I swear it's only because it would help the plot. The next scene is when Coraline talks to her mom after getting poured on outside with Wybie, and this scene is extremely different. For starters, the scene starts different with Coraline entering from the front door and not starting with her sitting at the window. Also, Coraline's mom's screen is blank and black, which it's a deleted scene. It makes sense. Coraline comes to her mom with some busted flowers and jokingly says she could put it in the catalog, and her mom tells her to put them in the sink, I guess. Also, her mom is actually talking to her and sounds so much more caring. She's trying to cheer her up about them moving and saying,
"Well, you already made a friend, and I'm sure you'll meet more friends when you start school."
Also, Coraline throws a spider in the coffee, which honestly could have been interesting since other mother ate bugs, but I don't think it's that deep. I think it's supposed to just be funny. Anyways, her mom says the school has uniforms only, and Coraline is not a big fan of that. And then again, Coraline's mom tries to cheer her up and hands her a paper to draw on. Also, a spider crawls out of the coffee, which is gross. Then we get this satisfying part of Coraline drawing, and then it has a pretty cool transition into Coraline's windows, and we see her sleeping. Now this scene got me extremely confused. So if this scene is the same scene from the original movie, did they just completely scrap the whole part of Coraline going to her dad and counting the windows and exploring the house? Not to mention, her mom never gave her the Coraline doll, but she had the doll next to her in the bed after the transition. So maybe Wybie actually gave her the doll instead? Anyways, I'm never going to be able to figure that out, so let's just compare the two scenes. So in the beginning of the original scene, her mom is pretty much ignoring her and saying, that's nice, and not giving her the time of day. Then, instead of making her feel better about the move, she just guilt trips her and brings up the accident. And I'm not going to bore you with all the dialogue, but she's very annoyed and being rude to Coraline, and pretty much tells her to leave her alone. And also, she gives her the Coraline doll, and Coraline leaves. I think the final scene is way better than the deleted scene one. Like I said before, her parents need to look like they suck to make other mother look good. And oh man, did her mom suck so bad right here. In the deleted scene, she comes off way too caring, and that's not good for the plot. So I'm happy with the final scene. Also, if the deleted scene really cut out the entire explore the house and talk to dad part, I am definitely not a fan of that whatsoever. The next scene starts with the house again, and we see her dad burp, and her mom gets mad at him and throws a squid toy at his face, and then he acts like it's attacking him. And then Coraline asks if he's going to order the tulips, and he says he has no idea what she's talking about. Now this is the same scene from Coraline that takes place after she saved her parents from Belle Dam. Now the original scene completely cut off the burp, and started right where the squid's attacking him, and it's the exact same dialogue about the tulips. There was some more dialogue after this scene where they talk about the garden party, but this wasn't really shown in the deleted scene, so I won't talk about it. Now I can't really understand why they would cut the burp. I think it was kind of funny and really fit her dad's humor. I assume maybe they took it out because they thought it would make the mom look violent throwing the squid, which would kind of make sense, because this is after she finally realized Belle Dam sucked, and now they gotta make the parents look all perfect. But in the deleted scene, it shows they still have some problems. So for plot reasons, it works, but technically her parents are still the same old parents. So I kind of like the burp part, but that's my opinion. The next scene is Coraline and the cat going to bed, and this scene is pretty much identical except for the music, but it's not really a big change. Then we transition into Coraline's dream, and for the deleted scene, it's kind of lazy and just pans up and fades into a painting looking background. The original is so much cooler and smoother though. It pans up and the ceiling is the same painting, and we see these gold beings fly into the middle. I like this much more. Now the conversation from both clips is pretty much identical except for one part where Coraline says,
"It's not fair."
because of how Beldam is still not defeated and is coming to find the key. I'm not exactly sure why I took this part out. I mean, I kind of like it because it shows more of Coraline's emotions because, well, she did go through a lot. And she's right, it's not fair. She has to do more even after all of that. Also, it's kind of a weird cut in the original clip because they just straight up cut to her looking sad, and then the kids comfort her for something she didn't technically say, but it's not really a big deal. Then the next scene isn't really a scene, but kind of like a behind the scenes look on how they created the mice effect, which is honestly pretty cool to see. The actual scene in the movie with the mice is a little different though. Instead of each mice coming in individually, all 4 are there from the start. And it's not even something you could even notice, but I do think it was best to do all 4, and it made for a faster, smoother scene. The next scene is Miss Forcible coming out of her house and saying, "April, where have you gone to?" And I don't even know if this is a scene from the movie. At least I don't remember it. And I don't know what the point of it is, but yeah, that's it. The next scene is also short, and it's just Coraline's mom saying,
"Either way, we lost 3 days, and we're barely gonna make the deadline now."
honestly, this scene isn't that useful to be honest. And with or without it, I don't think it really matters. It could be beneficial to adding to her mom's reasons of stress, but I think the original did well showing her stress without flat out stating this. The next scene is Coraline stepping onto those iconic carpet lumps, and I'm not a big fan of the wide shot. It kind of looks awkward. I definitely like how I did in the original by her being startled by the lumps and then the camera zooming onto it and the lumps just keep coming back. I think it came off a lot more funny and relatable. In the deleted scene, she just jumps on all 3 like it's nothing, and it's pretty simple. Also, we watch as she goes up the stairs, which is something we don't see in the original, which honestly was kind of smart. There's no need to show something, you can just show context clues. Because in the original, we watch her go down the stairs, so we can infer she obviously went up the stairs without having to waste time showing it for no reason. Not really a big deal though, with or without it, to be honest. The next scene is her sliding into the blue boy room, which I'm not really a fan of. In the original, we watch her walk into the room and there's a nice wide overhead shot, and this just adds to the uneasy vibe of Coraline and fits it perfectly. The slide kind of makes it seem silly and not as serious. The next scene is just Coraline looking terrified after walking into Beldam's chamber. This scene wasn't in the original movie. Instead, they just showed the room and then showed Coraline getting scooped up by a bug chair. Same with the stair scene. Taking this out kept the pace of the movie faster and smoother. Then we get a scene that went extremely viral on TikTok. So Coraline is explaining the other world to Wybie and tells him how she saw his grandma's sister, but in the weirdest way possible. So she says,
"Your grandma's black, right?"
and Wybie looks so shocked at what she just said and goes, yeah? And she tells him how she just met her sister. Now I can 100% see why this scene was taken out of the movie. It's just so random, kind of uncomfortable, but instead in the original, Wybie comes and tells Coraline about how the doll he gave her earlier was his grandma's sister's, and this allows her to then figure out she probably just met her sister. This scene gives us some context on the mysterious doll and is not as awkward and uncomfortable as the deleted scene. I think this is so much better than the deleted scene and fits the movie much better too. Then finally, the last deleted scene is a scene where Coraline sees her parents after saving them from Beldam, and she says,
"So you do remember."
and then her dad says, "We knocked their socks right out the ballpark." Now I wish I had more context for this scene, because honestly it would change my entire view on Coraline and probably mess up all my theories. But there's really no context, and I have no idea what she's referring to. My only guess is that they remember the fight between Beldam and Coraline, but sadly I can't be sure, because like I said, no context. Also, in the original scene, her parents act completely oblivious, and if this scene does show that they remember being trapped by Beldam, I'm honestly not a fan. The parents acting oblivious is so much more unsettling and is just perfect for Coraline. But I don't know, I'm just overthinking watching Coraline, the deleted scene of Coraline, talking about deleted scene of Coraline, you know, when I think about them overanalyzing thing, talking